This mystery begins at 221B Baker Street in London, where the brilliant detective Sherlock Holmes is injecting himself with a 7% solution of cocaine, something which he often indulges in when he is bored. His close friend and roommate John Watson is a doctor and deeply disapproves of this habit, but can only hope that a case will come along that is interesting enough to pull Sherlock away from the needle. Almost as if it was planned, a beautiful and elegant young lady named Mary Morstan arrives at the detective's house, seeking his help in solving a rather unusual mystery. Nearly 10 years ago, her father, Captain Arthur Morstan, returned to London from his post in India, only to vanish soon after without a trace. 6 years later, she began to receive an incredibly valuable gift, a single large and flawless pearl sent to her anonymously at the same time every year. Unsure who was sending them, but hoping it was her father, Mary held on to them. But things took a twist when a letter arrived requesting her presence at a mysterious meeting. Since she has no family in London, Mary wisely thought it best not to go on her own, and decided to ask for help from the infamously clever Sherlock Holmes. Intrigued, Holmes and Watson agree to accompany her to the meeting, and although he has only known her a short time, Watson is totally smitten by Mary's grace and bravery. The trio follow the instructions in the letter and are eventually taken to Thaddeus Sholto, a nervous, peculiar man who claims to have information about Mary's father. Thaddeus reveals that his own father, Major Sholto, was Captain Morstan's close friend, and that the two men were involved in a conflict over an enormous treasure they discovered while stationed in India. According to Thaddeus, Captain Morstan accidentally died of a heart attack while he and his father argued over ownership of the treasure, and in a panic, he hid Morstan's death so he wouldn't be arrested on suspicion of murder. However, he was haunted by guilt for the rest of his life and lived in constant fear of someone taking revenge on him. He was particularly frightened of men with wooden legs, and recounted strange tales of a mysterious pact and a group called the Sign of the Four. On his deathbed, Sholto tried to tell his twin sons, Thaddeus and Bartholomew, about the location of the treasure, but before the words could leave his lips, a fiercely angry bearded man appeared at the window, a sight which shocked him so badly that he died. The next day, his room was ransacked, and a cryptic note reading the Sign of the Four was pinned on his body. For years, Thaddeus and Bartholomew searched for the treasure without success, and Thaddeus, feeling like they owed a debt to Mary, had been sending her the pearls every year. Just the other day, however, Bartholomew at last discovered the location of the chest, which was hidden in the roof of the family estate, and Thaddeus contacted Mary so that they could divide up the treasure between them. When the group arrives at the family home, however, they find a horrifying scene awaiting them. Bartholomew Sholto has been murdered, lying dead with an eerily contorted face and a thorn-like dart in his neck. The treasure chest is also missing, and in its place, the same strange note reading the Sign of the Four. Holmes is now totally hooked on solving this case, and after a quick examination of the footprints and clues left at the crime scene, he deduces that two men must have committed this crime. One very agile and small man who could climb a wall with ease, and another wooden-legged man who helped to orchestrate the theft and murder. At this moment, the bumbling Scotland Yard detective Athelney Jones arrives, and quickly makes a mess of things by arresting nearly everyone in the house, which Holmes is quite pleased about because it means that he is left to follow the real scent. Quite literally, as he uses a hound called Toby to sniff out the trail of the two men, who accidentally stepped in a strong-smelling substance at the crime scene. With the dog's help, they track the murderous duo to the Thames, and learn that they have hired a very fast steamboat named the Aurora, presumably to escape from England. Holmes locates the boat by gathering intel in disguise, and by summoning the Baker Street Irregulars, a group of boys who live on the streets of London and act as his eyes and ears. A dramatic chase down the Thames soon follows, as Holmes, Watson, and the police pursue the criminals. But as they close in, the peculiarly small man, whom Holmes deduced was at the crime scene, attempts to attack them with a poisoned blow dart, and is killed in self-defense. Eventually, the boat is captured, and the remaining criminal, Jonathan Small, is taken into custody, while Watson brings the treasure chest to Mary. Upon opening it, however, they discover that it is completely empty. Both Mary and Watson seem relieved by this, however, as it means that he can now ask her to marry him without looking like he's only after her inheritance. At the police station, Small confesses that he threw the jewels overboard when he realized capture was inevitable, because if he couldn't have the treasure, he felt that no one should. He explains that he was stationed in India after he enlisted as a soldier, where a crocodile bit his leg off. Unable to continue his regular duties, he became a guard near the city of Agra, and was there during the Indian Mutiny against the British colonizers. While defending the fort, he met 3 Sikh soldiers who convinced him to help them seize the Agra treasure, an enormous fortune in jewels that once belonged to a Raja. They make a pact to share it between them, calling their allegiance the Sign of the Four. The 4 men successfully steal the treasure and murder the men who transported it, hiding it away until the tensions in the country died down. But before they can leave, they are arrested for the murders and sent far away to a prison camp in the Andaman Islands. As years passed, Small's hope of escaping with his share of the treasure began to fade. But one day, an opportunity appeared when 2 British soldiers with a bad gambling habit were assigned to guard the prison, Captain Morstan and Major Sholto. Small made them a tempting offer to help him and his friends escape and take a portion of the treasure. They agree to this plan readily enough, but unbeknownst to them, Sholto has his own agenda and double-crosses everyone by stealing their fortune and taking it back to England. Furious, Small thinks of nothing but getting revenge, and over time he forms a friendship with one of the native islanders, Tonga, and with his help he manages to escape the island. After Major Sholto's death, Small discovered that one of his sons had found the treasure and plotted to steal it back. But the plan went awry when Tonga, eager to prove his loyalty, killed Bartholomew with a poisoned dart, much to Small's dismay. It was too late to take it back, however, and this rash act of violence ultimately led to his capture. Inspector Jones leads Small away to prison once again, while Watson informs Holmes that Mary has agreed to be his wife. Holmes is far from happy about this news, however, and decides to drown his sorrows and fast-returning boredom with his old friend, the cocaine bottle.